AI has given fresh life and fresh opportunity to this market, and providing organizations with new ways of working with the information that they're capturing and preserving. Archiving is a mature market. We know that its compliance has been a requirement, storage management has been a requirement for many, many years. I would say that the last, 1 to 2 years have been among the most innovative that we've seen in a very long time. So that app proliferation has absolutely been a compliance concern for the last several years. And, if we go back the last 2 to 3 years, there's been about $2 billion US in fines that have been incurred by financial services organizations that haven't been able to accurately capture or consistently capture the communications that are happening on some of these apps. And AI has had a tremendous impact, on so many enterprise applications. Natural language and being able to interrogate our documents and our conversations is becoming mainstream behavior. It means there's some opening opportunities for those who are conducting things like investigations and discovery. Customers are also asking about modern approaches to things like governance and security, making sure that there's appropriate ways to detect and flag any kind of sensitive data. While we know that we're in the age of innovation and AI, a lot of those fundamentals are really key to regulated industries. And so having that strong foundation of information lifecycle management, being able to tailor the retention pool rules and policies according to the value and the meaning of those communication or data types is really, really essential there.
In the day-to-day life of someone in the trenches responding to discovery requests, they're often working with technology that is at least 10 years old, some cases 20 years old. And so this has led, and then you combine that, as Cheryl was pointing out, you combine that with the evolution in data sources. There is increasing pressure and expectation, as she alluded to, in the discovery process for organizations to produce things like collaboration, Teams chats, SMS, these other formats that didn't exist, right? The standard in discovery, at least in US style discovery, is close to perfection. So I think the question becomes, how can we use a fully modernized stack to be able to do this in a much more efficient way with much more reliability and much more scalability?
I'm seeing organizations that are still running on an infrastructure and an archive that was built 15 to 20 years ago. When you are moving from a legacy archive to a modern archive, you are going through 3 simultaneous shifts. The big data, the cloud, which provides us the scalability and elasticity to handle those loads, and the last part, which is the most exciting one these days, obviously is the AI, which brings us extreme efficiency. I would like to show you what we've done in Shield. We have introduced Sheila, which is AI assistant for discovery cases. And we're already seeing, as you can see, massive gain in efficiency from this process.
We asked you, the audience, to share your burning questions with us, and we've cherry-picked a few of them to ask our experts to address today. As employees use tools like ChatGPT or Copilot, how are firms approaching the archive and supervision of those interactions today?
Are people trying to use ChatGPT, let's say, to discover information within the organization that they wouldn't otherwise have access to? Look, as long as it's just me and the GPT, not a communication, right? But as soon as I share that communication with someone else, now that is a communication, and now it does need to be captured.
Ultimately, if it's electronically stored information, it's potentially discoverable. So, even if it is that note to yourself, if it's in writing, it's kind of your rationale behind a decision or why you're making a particular business decision, then it potentially, is discoverable.
How comfortable are regulators today with AI playing a role in investigations? And where do they still expect manual validation or supporting evidence?
regulators tend to be pretty outcome driven, and where I think this gets potentially more interesting is in civil litigation, because in civil litigation there is an incentive for the requesting party to try to dig into the discovery.
The solution would probably to add human in the loop, or AI that provides you additional reports that later on you can audit the behavior of the AI and the decision making behind the scene.
How do you balance out strict retention policies with the need to keep data usable for investigations and AI models?
I think this is going to be an interesting area of kind of reflection and debate, as we really embrace the age of AI. I've often seen that there's a bit of a tension between, the school of thought is, keep everything, for a long period of time, or have a very compressed life cycle management to, dispose of things so you don't have to go through large scale, multi-year discovery and so on. So I've seen kind of those two kind of polar extremes in several organizations.
So if I was going to summarize to one main takeaway for our viewers, it's that the archiving is no longer just about retaining data. It's about being able to trust it, use it, and act on it. And so on that note, thank you once again to our speakers and to everyone who joined today.